We are looking at a data type called array of objects. Array of objects is a common data type, and let's see how it looks like. That is an array that contains many objects. This is an array. Array is denoted with square braces. But inside this array, we will now have objects there. So let's assume the first object has a property called, let's say, name is here. Let's say department is CSE. So this is the first object inside this array. We can have another object in the array. This is second object inside the array. Name is Kenny. Department, let's say anatomy. Let's add one more. Name is John. Department, let's say law. So these are the three objects inside this array. Remember, arrays are the items in an array. They are arranged, or they can be identified using their indexes. This is index 0. This is index 1. This is index 2. So if I want to see the value at index 0, I can say console log AR, that is the name of the array, index 0. This is going to give me this first object. Let's check it out together. We have this object. If I want to see the value at the second object, the value at index 1, I'll change this to 1. And this is going to give me this. And if I change it to 2, this will give me this. Any questions so far? Okay. Let's continue. Now, let's look at this first one. What if I want to display this name, this taille, I want to display it out. So I can say, let's create a variable called obj equals to ARR index 0. Remember, ARR index 0 is going to return this first object for us. So I can now say console log obj then dot name. That is going to give me taille obj.name, because AR index 0 we save this object as obj. So if I now say obj.name, that will give me taille. Let's proceed. Here is it. Now a question for you, sir. What if I want to see law? I want to display this law. What am I going to do? Please tell me how to go about it. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So if I want to say law, this law, what am I going to do? that's left. Okay, here is it. Let's use the same approach we used initially. So this is that if I want to display this flow, I need to fetch this object. So if I'm fetching this object, it is at index 2. This is index 0, this is index 1. So this is index 2. Index 2. I can now say console log obj dot department. So it's going to display that for us. Now, well, it's not a must we create this variable before we do that. We can compress them together like this. We can say console log obj, sorry, ARR index 2. Index 2 is going to return this. We can now say dot department. This is going to give us log. We still have the same result. So if I want to display anatomy, this is going to be index 1. Index 1. So array of object is a common data type in JavaScript. In fact, we use it a lot. Let's now see how we can add more items to this array. Let's say we want to add more items. Imagine you want to register a new person. Of course, when we're registering a new person, we add the name of the person and the department of the person. So let's see how we can do that. We want to get it from users. So we have input. When you click on this button, you're going to get the values inside these two inputs, and then we add it to this. So let's get a function together. I don't know the one I've been using. I think this one I've been using, yeah. Const add new person. Add new person. When you call on this function, it's going to run the code inside this place. So I'll click on this button, add new person like this. So firstly, you need to get what is inside this input and what is inside this input. Can call, let's give it an ID, let's call this username. Let's give it an ID, let's call it department. So we can say let's name equals to username dot value. Being an input, you know we're going to use dot value. So when you click on this, it's going to get this using the ID now. It will assign it to name. Let's guess what is inside the second one. Let's just say my department equals to department dot value. So it's going to get the two. This will get this username and assign it to name. Then this will get the department and assign it to my department. Let's display the two. Console log name department. So my department. So let's see if we're able to get that before we continue. So let's add another person. Then department, let's say physiology. Click. We have explicitly physiology. We've been able to get that. Any question to this point?
No question.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. So now we are not just interested in displaying it in the console alone. Instead, we want to find a way to push it inside this place. So firstly, we need to create an object so that it's going to take the shape of the previous things inside this array. Again, we want it to take the shape of those things inside this array. So we're going to create an object. Let's new person equals to. Now the objects here, they have a property called name and another called department. So I'll come here and say name. Oops. Name is this name. In fact, for now, I'll change this from name to my name. I'm changing this to my name so that we are not going to mix it up with these properties. Yeah. So we are saying that create a property called name and let the value be this my name. So we come here and we say my name. Create an object. Inside that object, let it have a property called name and let the value be this my name, the one we displayed in the console. Then create another property called department and let the value be this my department. My department. So let's display new person in the console and let's see how it looks like. New person. Okay. So let's see. We have. Alright, sir. Kisley, you can ask your question, sir.
Okay, sir. I'm seeing in that key objects. Can you go back to the PSP? Let me see. Okay. That's my name, and that my name is a key value. And now you are not using it. We are not using it again as part of this new person's variable.
Okay.
Is it possible that way?
This my name is a variable which stands for whatever the user, the ID here is username. That when the user clicks on this button, it's going to call on function add new person. It will come here, run the codes here. Let my name, meaning that create a variable for us called my name, and let the value be username dot value. The ID here is username, so get the value inside it and assign it to my name. So my name now will stand for whatever the user types inside this input. Then let my department equals to department dot value. The ID here is department. So my department will be whatever the user types inside that second input. So we are creating an object called new person. Let it have a key called name, but let the value be whatever this variable is. So name now, the value of this key name will be whatever the user type inside the first input, and the value of department will be whatever the user typed inside the second input. Do you get it, sir?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, even if you do it this way, my name, without putting a key name inside that object, will it still work like that?
Like this? Just like this?
Just removing that, yes.
Yes and no. No. Yes and no. The reason I said yes and no is this. ES6 allows us to do something like this, but it's not going to work the way we want it to work. What I mean is this. If you do something like this, what JavaScript is going to do for you is that it will duplicate this to this. Sorry. To duplicate this to... This is what it will interpret it as. Whenever you just put a variable name like this, it will create a key called my name, and the value will also be my name. I don't want us to go into this part yet. I plan maybe when we get to ES6, we will talk more on this. Is ES6 syntax. This is part of ES6 syntax. When you have key value pair like this, when you just put a variable name here, it will duplicate it itself to key value pair. The key will be my name and the value will be my name. An object cannot do without a key. Like when you want to store anything inside an object, it must be a key with its corresponding value. A key with its corresponding value. So when you just put a variable name, it will interpret it as this. It will interpret it as this. So meaning technically it is still key value pair. In fact, in the real sense, it is still key value pair, just a shorter way to write it. But I don't want my key to be my name. Instead, I want my key to be name so that it can take the shape of these ones. So that's why I need to write it like this. Name, let the value be my name. The key is name, the value is my name. The key is department, the value is my department. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, thank you, sir. Okay, let's move on. Now let's add a new person. Let's say the department is let's say medicine. Now you can see these objects. Key name, the value is Danulari, which is what we have inside this input. Key department, the value is medicine, which you have inside this object. Next is we want to now add this object to be part of this array. So on array, there's a method called push. I think I mentioned this when we looked at arrays and loop. There's a property on arrays called push. There's a method called push. I think we've looked at arrays in the past.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm familiar with it.
So there is a method on arrays called push. We use push to add a new item to our arrays. So let's say arr.push. Whatever you now want to push will be inside this place. I want to push new person. New person. So it's going to add new person into this array. So let's now say console log AR like this. Console log AR. So let's add so you can see we now have 4 items, no longer 3. And if you check this, the last item now is the new one. We can add another one again. Let me clear this space. And let's add another one again. Let's say Kaye. Let's say URP. So now we have 5 items now. Any question on that? So the content of the array has expanded. The array has expanded. Question. Okay, let's proceed. Next is this. What if, instead of displaying this in the console, I want to display all the names, just the names alone on the screen. Just the names alone. We are not going to go into array methods. We are going to use loop. When we get to year 6, we are going to look at some array methods. When we get to year 6, especially those ones that came with year 6. But for now, we are not going to go into that. We are going to use the long approach. But I think the long approach will aid our understanding of some things. So what we are going to do is that, let's assume I want to display all the names on the screen. So I will create a div. So I want to display all the names inside this div. So in order to find it easy to target this div, I give it an ID. I can call it display. Display. That's the idea of this thing. So we can now say, if I want to display the first name, in fact, let me put it here so that it will be easy to. If I want to display the first name, I'll say display dot inner text equals to arr index 0 dot name. This is going to give us Taye. Let's check it out. That's Taye. If I want to display the second name, it will be index 1. Any questions so far?
Please, okay.
You wanted to ask a question, sir?
No, I don't get it now.
Okay.
Hold on.
Alright. So index 0 dot name will give us Taye, index 1 dot name will give us Kenny, index 2 dot name will give us John. But that is not where we are going to. We want to display all the names, not just one name. Not just one name. So let's display the first one. Then we now concatenate it with the second name. Remember, this is a string, so I can concatenate it with another name. So this is going to give me Taye, then Kenny. It will, like, the two of them will be together. We have this. Let's put a little space between them. So it will concatenate this with this space, then followed by the next one. So we have this. Any questions so far? So I want to add the third name also. So we have the three names. But the problem with this approach is that, imagine we have 100 names. Is this how we will keep concatenating them one after the other? So let's find a better solution to that. I will comment this part out. A better solution would be to use a for loop. Remember, a loop is used to repeat something, to do something over and over again. So I can say for I is 0. We've looked at loop in one of our previous classes. So index equals to 0. I love using I instead of index. I'll change this to index to I instead. Mainly because whenever I'm explaining it, if I want to refer to index 0, I will need to be saying index, which I won't like. So let's have this. These are a loop, like a common loop, right? I want this loop to run based on the number of items in this array. So this is going to be, we've done something like this under our loop. We've done something like this under our loop. I is 0. I is less than array.length. If there are 3 items here, the way it is now, that means this is the same as saying I is less than 3. Do you understand?
Yes.
So next is that, let's now say console log. If I say
I.
Okay, let's start with this. Console log I. Console log I. This is going to give me I will first be 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes. It will enter this place. It will console log 0. When it is done, it will do I plus plus, I becomes 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. It will enter this place, console log I, which is 1. I plus plus, I becomes 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. It will enter this place, console log I, which is 2. I plus plus, I becomes 3. Is 3 less than 3? No. It will terminate. So when we run it, we're going to see 0, 1, 2. And that is this. Now let's proceed. We can now say ARR index of I. I is 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes. It will enter this place. Console log ARR index I. Remember, I is 0. So ARR index 0, which is this, is going to console log this object. When it is done, I plus plus I becomes 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. Console log ARR index 1. ARR index 1, because since I is 1, so ARR index I is the same as ARR index 1. So it's going to log this object to the console. When it is done, I plus plus I becomes 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. It will enter this place again. Console log ARR index 2. ARR index 2, since I is 2, ARR index 2 will be this, which is this object. Do we understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why we have the subject. But again, we are not interested in everything. We are just interested in these names. So I'll just say dot name. A second, please. It's raining here. I'm coming. Are you with me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So this is going to display all the names for us, like this. But we are not just interested in displaying it in the console. We want to display it inside this div. That's our interest. So we are going to say display dot inner text equals to ARR index I. That's name. But if you try this will only display the last one. John. The reason is this. I is 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes. If you enter this place, display dot inner text equals to ARR index 0, which is this object, dot name, which is Taye. So it's going to put Taye inside this div. When it is done, I plus plus I becomes 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. It's going to do this again. ARR index I, which is this object, dot name, which is Kenny. Kenny will now replace the Taye that is inside this div. So the Kenny will override Taye. Then when it is done, I plus plus I becomes 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. Display dot inner text equals to ARR index I, which is this object, dot name, which is John. John will override Kenny. I plus plus I becomes 3. Is 3 less than 3? No, it will terminate. So at the end of the day, we only see the last one. That's not what we want. Do you understand what I just explained?
Yes, sir. I'm following.
Alright, let's proceed. So, what you want to...
Even if you remove that name and then put department, that means it will only display only the departments.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's to display the last one. So we only see law.
Last one. Okay.
Okay, let's proceed. So, what we are going to do instead is this. We are going to, instead of overriding it, we will say, get whatever might be inside display dot inner text and concatenate it with the new results. So let's look at this. When we run this, I is 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes. It will enter this place. Display dot inner text equals to the initial value of display dot inner text, which is empty, plus we are concatenating it with CSC. Let's change it back to name. So we are concatenating it with Taye. So it's going to put Taye inside this place. I plus plus I becomes 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. Display dot inner text equals to the initial value of display dot inner text, which is that Taye, plus ARR index I dot name Kenny. So it will concatenate Taye and Kenny together, and it will set it as a new value of display dots inner text. I plus plus I becomes 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes. Display dot inner text equals to display dot inner text plus ARR index I. Remember, the current value of display dot inner text now is Taye and Kenny together plus ARR index I dot name John. So we now have, it's going to concatenate the three of them together, Taye, Kenny, John, and it becomes the new value of display dot inner text. So we have this result. Any questions so far?
No question.
So, but again, there should be a little space between them. So we can now say concatenate empty string like this. What am I doing?
So can we use inner HTML?
Yes, we can use inner HTML also. It will work fine. So,
Just to make it fit.
yeah, we can use inner HTML. It will also work fine. So get the initial value of display dot inner text. Add this space with it. Like concatenate this space with it. Then before you concatenate the name, it will work fine. We can also shorten this code to this. It will still give us the same results. You have the same. It's fine. This plus equals to means get the initial value of display dot inner text, concatenate it with all of this, and set it back as a new value. We have the same result. But I think in classes like this, I love this approach because it is clearer and easier to understand. Now, do we have any questions before I give us assignments? Here is the assignment. Presently, we are displaying all the names on the screen. But the problem is that if you add a new name, let's say I add Kesley, and I click on this, right? The name has been added here, but it's not being displayed on the screen. It's not being displayed on the screen. So I want it, as soon as I add a new name, you should add it also to what I'm displaying on the screen. So now I should have Kenny, Taye, Kenny, John, Kingsley. Taye, Kenny, John, Kingsley. Once I add another name again, it should be part of those things I will see on the screen. That's the assignment. Do you have any question on the assignment? Okay, in absence of questions, we call it a day. Thanks for coming. Good to have you. Thank you, sir.